welcome to my channel. My name is Mihalina and today I'm going to investigate the phenomenon of vitamin D deficiency in the Middle East. Since vitamin D deficiency is a very broad subject concerned with a vast number of both health and social issues, I would like to focus on one vitamin D deficiency related topic that seems particularly interesting to me, namely how the problem of vitamin D deficiency in the state of Kuwait is addressed by local daily newspapers. First of all, I would like to see what kind of measures were recommended by local newspapers to prevent vitamin D deficiency in general. Secondly, I would like to find out whether articles on that subject published in Kuwaiti newspapers tackled such local aspects of vitamin D deficiency as extensive clothing among women or occurrence of rickets among children. Vitamin D is known as sunshine vitamin, and one could ask why, in spite of abundant sunlight, the Middle East registers very high rates of vitamin D deficiency. According to various studies, vitamin D levels are quite low across all age groups in this particular region. For example, it was reported that even up to 70% of adolescent girls in Iran and 80% in Saudi Arabia suffer from vitamin D deficiency. There are few major reasons behind that phenomenon, among them conservative and extensive clothing, dark skin pigmentation, and extremely hot and long summers that discourage people from outdoor activities. Kuwait is no exception in that regard. For instance, rickets, a condition occurring due to the deficiency of vitamin D, is still reported in Kuwait, even though the condition has been almost completely eliminated from other developed countries. Since vitamin D deficiency has become a major public health problem in the Middle East, I decided to check whether this issue has been addressed with sufficient care by local newspapers in Kuwait. In order to do so, I searched online issues of 5 major Kuwaiti newspapers, namely Al-Siyasah, Al-Watan, Al-Rai Al-Qabas, and Al-Sabah, for articles on vitamin D deficiency published in 2014 and 2015. As a result of my research conducted on 29th and 30th of August, I managed to find a total number of 20 relevant articles. 10 of them were published in Al-Siyasah, 6 in Al-Rai and 4 in Al-Qabas. Among them, 3 articles were reprinted and translated from different sources. However, no exact source was provided. And according to my research, in 2014 and 2015, both Al-Watan and Al-Sabah published no articles on vitamin D deficiency in Kuwait. Most of the articles published in Al-Siyasah provided some general information on what kind of problems are caused due to vitamin D deficiency, such as osteoporosis, rickets, lung disease, or teeth problems. In addition, they also provided information on the major sources of vitamin D. Eggs, in particular, were named as an excellent source of vitamin D. 2 articles underscored the role of eggs in reducing risk of rickets among children. However, I would like to discuss in greater detail 2 other articles that seem particularly interesting and informative to me, since they managed to tackle local aspects of vitamin D deficiency in Kuwait and in GCC area. First article is an interview with Dr. Muhammad Ahmed Burani from United Arab Emirates. Dr. Burani recommends eating fish as efficient treatment for vitamin D deficiency, which sounds rather reasonable, since traditionally fish used to be an important part of diet in the Arab Gulf. Aside from that, Dr. Burani points out that according to the Dubai Health Authority, 81% of the United Arab Emirates population suffer from vitamin D deficiency. He also suggests that veiled women are at greater risk of vitamin D deficiency since their skin is not exposed enough to get sufficient amount of sunlight. Another article is an interview with Dr. Leila Yunus, who works as a pediatrician at Kut Medical Center in Kuwait. In the interview for Al-Siyasah, Dr. Yunus mentions that even 99% of Kuwaitis suffer from vitamin D deficiency, which ultimately may result in osteoporosis in adults and rickets in children. Dr. Yunus underscores the importance of vitamin D for proper development of bones in children. She also names major symptoms of vitamin D deficiency among children. On the other hand, articles on vitamin D deficiency published in Al-Rai Al-Alam mostly provide information on the major sources of vitamin D. In that regard, they recommend salmon, tuna, shrimps, sardines, fortified milk, and eggs. One article recommends sun exposure as a part of treatment for patients suffering from osteoporosis, while another mentions that vitamin D deficiency may lead to rickets in children. Two articles emphasize the importance of vitamin D in fat burning, which is quite relevant considering the high number of Kuwaitis suffering from obesity. Articles on vitamin D deficiency published in Al-Qabas focus mainly on the major sources of vitamin D and the importance of vitamin D in fat burning. Vitamin D is also named as one of the major factors in preventing development of osteoporosis in adults. One article mentions high correlation between low levels of vitamin D and high rates of Alzheimer's disease. However, no data from Kuwait specifically is provided. Another article shortly describes how numerous hospitals and clinics in Kuwait are affected by drugs shortages. Among drugs that are in particularly high demand, author mentions vitamin D capsules, which suggests that many Kuwaitis undergo some sort of vitamin D deficiency treatment and that the problem is in general recognized by local doctors and by Kuwaitis themselves. My conclusion is that despite the problem of vitamin D deficiency has been certainly tackled in one way or another by local Kuwaiti newspapers, the issue still should be addressed with much greater care and certainly should be discussed with particular emphasis on the local context. In order to prevent vitamin D deficiency, I would recommend a series of interviews with doctors working in Kuwait, where such local aspects of vitamin D deficiency as extremely hot and humid summers, conservative clothing, unhealthy diet patterns, and lack of outdoor activities would be discussed in detail. I would also suggest a social campaign developed by the Ministry of Health in cooperation with local media on how osteoporosis and rickets are correlated with vitamin D deficiency.